Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 once again for episode 146 of the 815 Exchange. And well, we got Norm. We got Norm in the building. We got the broomstick also in the building because it's Sweeplandia. Alright, there are a bunch of sweeps going on right now in the NBA playoffs. In fact, both conference finals are currently in sweep territory. Both of them. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Of course, we got NHL playoffs. We got Haney versus Loma. And of course, we have Succession. And I finally got around to watching some of those movies. So, we got a full episode. So, again, tuck in. Get your food, get your drink, get comfortable. Because, we got a very, very full episode. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as always, as I always say for every single episode, everything you're looking for can be found in the description. So my social media links. If you want to follow me there, I finally posted a graduation post. It was on LinkedIn, but still progress, slowly but surely. One day I'll post on IG again, but nonetheless, I did post my graduation stuff. So if you want to check that out on my LinkedIn, whatever, even though I don't have my LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure in my... Anyways, my social media links are in the description. Same thing with timestamps. If you want to skip ahead to that NBA segment, or you really want to hear me talk about entertainment, or you want to hear this very, very full roundup, feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are provided in the description. This is long-form content I give. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have a full episode, so let's get straight to it. Combat Sports. And well. Devin Haney took on Vasily Lomachenko for the Undisputed Lightweight crown at 135 pounds in boxing this past weekend. It was a very highly anticipated fight. Loma finally getting his chance at Undisputed. Haney with the chance to prove his just to prove he's legit. Like, he is the guy at lightweight. By taking out the guy that was once the guy at lightweight, and some people believe possibly could still be the guy at lightweight. And of course, because this is boxing, of course we ended in controversy as Devin Haney won by unanimous decision, and a decision I don't really agree with. Now, preface this by rounds, I think, 9 through 11. I forget exactly what happened or what I ended up having to deal with, but I had to deal with something, so I was kind of in and out of those rounds. So I can't really give a true scoring. But I saw 12. Haney won 12. But I think I ended up around 7-5 Loma was my final score, right? Which would give Loma the Undisputed Championship. That is not what Mr. David Morietti came up with, who I'm really questioning whether he's a judge. He was 116, 112, which for those that do not watch boxing, I think that's all at 8-4 to Haney, which I do not agree with at all. Loma won this fight. If anything, you could give it a draw. If they just said a draw, I'd have been like, all right. But Haney, I cannot say he won the fight. I cannot say in my good mind that Devin Haney won that fight. However, I don't know if I'm saying it's a robbery. I guess we have to figure out what we define a robbery as in boxing. A robbery is the Rolly Romero fight from last week that we talked about. That was a blatant robbery. Blatant, clear as day robbery. That is a textbook robbery. This one, I don't know. It was a close fight. I saw some people give it to Haney. I saw some people give it to Loma. So, I don't know if I feel comfortable calling it a robbery. I feel like if anybody won, you had to give it to Loma. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that when it went to the scorecards, that if it was relatively close, they were going to give it to Haney because he has all the fresh matchups. He's the headliner. Loma's 35. Like, they're trying to usher out. This is the narrative that even, I guess, somewhat I perpetuated here on this channel. We're trying to usher in a new era of boxing, right? With Haney, with Tank, with Shakur, who showed up at the end. We'll talk about that. With Ryan, right, in this division. The Four Princes, or whatever we call them, right? We're trying to usher in that era, so Loma's not included in that. As great as Loma is, he's not. And boxing wants to move forward. So naturally, the storyline was always going to be if this goes to decision and it is relatively close, Haney was going to win this. So, as much as we like to kind of protect the goodwill and fair judging, I mean, if you've watched boxing for any amount of time, you knew what was going to go down. You knew what was going to go down as soon as this was any type of a close fight and it went to decision. You knew what was going to happen. You knew what the decision was going to be. And if you didn't, you're naive. And welcome to your first major boxing event with storylines. But nonetheless, hated for Loma. He was very emotional after because it's just kind of, he's being forced out. And he's still clearly world championship level. But in a way, it feels like he's being forced out. He's never going to get his chance that, in some ways he's deserved, he's earned to be the undisputed champ. But, yeah. Sucks for Loma. I'm not surprised by the decision. I don't agree with it, but I'm not surprised. But, yeah. I don't know if it's corruption. It's boxing. Which sucks to say at this point, but it's boxing. It is what it is. Haney will probably face Shakur. I think Shakur beats Haney, to be completely honest. I think Tank gives Haney a very hard time. So, yeah, I think he's in trouble. If they go the Shakur route, I think he might get outboxed, which is crazy to say about Devin Haney. As skilled as he is, I think Shakur could possibly outbox, and he certainly could finish Devin. So, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, a bunch of interesting matchups, which is what they wanted. So, boxing gets what they want in the end, but the fans are left kind of up in the air. So, we'll see. UFC Fight Note, again this weekend. This one headlined by Mackenzie Dern and Angela Hill. Angela Hill continues to be a gatekeeper at strawweight, which is, no surprise, is what she does. Mackenzie Dern is hot right now. Alright, she is scorching. And she's scorched through Angela Hill. This was dominant. Just a dominant performance. Yeah, Divorce Dern might be a new mythical fighter. But yeah, she just, completely obliterated Hill. This was not close at all. This card also had a bunch of highlight reel KOs or finishes or just ruthless beatdowns. Like the one Anthony Hernandez put on Edmund. Why? Please give Edmund a striker. Just for his mercy, if y'all don't cut him at this point. Just give him a striker. Okay? Because y'all giving him grappler after grappler. He can't grapple. At least for the excitement, just give him something. Because Hernandez just mauled him. Buckley with a vicious leg kick KO on Fiallo after the kind of headbutt. Seeing some mixed feelings on that. But yeah. Fiallo probably should have took that time to recover. And of course, Diego Fierro probably retired Michael Johnson. He pulled an MJ on MJ. And probably retired Michael Johnson with a vicious KO. So yeah. Brutal card. But yeah, Dern looking like she's going to be a problem. Champions League. Inter Milan, this game was the Milan Derby, semifinals. Yeah, Lautaro Martinez got the goal for Inter. They won 1-0. This game was really, it was nothing. Okay, Milan just didn't show up. They didn't show up. I can't really say they showed up for either leg, to be completely honest. It was pitiful. It was a pitiful performance from AC Milan as Inter Milan pretty much controlled the whole game. How do you get outshot in a must-win game? How does that happen? In a game in which you were already down on aggregate, how do you get outshot by that much? I don't understand. But yeah, AC Milan did not show up. Inter Milan said, sure, we'll take it. And advanced to the final for the first time since 2009-2010. Easy does it. Inter advances. Now, let's talk about the actual Champions League final here in the semifinal. So I would like to formally congratulate Pep Guardiola and Manchester City on winning not only the Premier League this past weekend, but the Champions League. Because they're going to beat Inter, and they're going to beat everybody else. Yeah, Man City wins 4-0 over Real Madrid. They dominated. We had two dominant legs. Okay? Two dominant legs. Okay? At least Man City, to be fair, at least Man City and Real Madrid, the first leg was super tense. Like I said, high quality football. Yeah, this one was really only high quality for one side, and it was Man City from the jump. They said we were winning this, that we were at home, we were at the Etihad. It's done. It's finished. We're not playing no games. Bernardo Silva played the game of his life. He had 2 goals. Akanije and Julian Alvarez, who also scored against Chelsea on the weekend, both scored for Man City. No Haaland, no machine. But yeah, it didn't really matter. Man City just dominated Real Madrid. They got it. They got it. Champions League winners. Done. Done and dusted. Won the Prem. Won the Champions League. Inter Milan could pull off the upset. Anything can happen, but Man City won the Champions League. Let's be completely honest. They are the best team in the world currently. And yeah, that's really all that needs to be said about that. They're on a different level. Simply put, on a different level. Entertainment. Succession. The funeral episode, the long-awaited funeral episode for Logan Roy. And as I said last week, all right, Roman Roy was at his most despicable. At his absolute most despicable last episode. The most slimy possible, pervy. He was horrid. Okay? Roman was horrid. And as you know in this show, every time somebody has that victory lap, has that dominant episode, they're going to come crashing and burning the next episode. And boy, oh boy, did Roman the showman, crash and burn on yesterday's episode of Succession. I mean, woo. And it was honestly a lot. Anybody that's lost somebody very close to them or a family member probably could relate to it. Because Roman just fell apart. All of the unresolved trauma, all of the hurt fell apart. Went to deliver the eulogy, and he just crumbled. He crumbled. After Uncle Ewan came up, held it down, he just crumbled. Roman crumbled. Fell apart. Minkin was a savage, as we know him to be. Called him, something whiny. And said he doesn't really respect him as a man anymore because he cried on live television at his dad's funeral. But that's who y'all like the president. Anyways. Roman crumbles. So who picks up the pieces as he always does? Well, it's the number one boy, Kendall Roy. Steals the show at the funeral as he always does. He delivers a great eulogy. And yeah. He's full-on killer now. He's full-on killer. He's lost everything that, tied him down and kept his humanity. Jess decided to quit. He lost it on her. His wife left with the kids. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that humanity anymore. He's just Logan. He's a reloaded Logan at this point, and it's going to be very interesting. He's even getting all of Logan's old comrades. All of the old guard he's bringing back together. He's bringing them all in. He's new Logan. We'll see if it pays off. He was very Michael Corleone-ish in this episode. It was very Michael Corleone-ish. Kendall Roy was Michael Corleone in this episode. Not to say that he won the episode necessarily, because he still got to deal with the Minkin situation, but yeah, Roman was finished. Like you said, Roman, and I don't think he was saying that to necessarily be mean, but Roman did. After Roman had all the momentum, he felt like he was on top of the world. He crumbled like he always did. And Kendall, as he always does, came and cleaned up his mess. Cleaned up his siblings' mess. So we'll see what happens with Kendall. Can he stay straight? Will he win? I don't know. Shiv is the other dog, I guess, of the siblings in the race. However, it's the writing on the wall that she's going to get screwed by Mattson. He agreed to her U.S. CEO plan, but was like, yeah, I'm cool with a U.S. CEO. Me and Minkin can make that work. I don't know if it's going to be Shiv, though. So, Shiv looks good right now on paper, but I think she's getting screwed. If I had a bet on anybody winning right now, I'd say it's Tom. Okay, Tom was not he did what Logan wouldn't do, and he stayed at the office during the funeral, held it down at ATN. He's said he's willing to be a puppet. Listen, it's either Tom or Greg. I think Tom, Greg, and then Kendall are your last three in the race here. I don't think Shiv has a chance. I think Kendall, right, the siblings could win, or a sib could win. It'd be Kendall. But I can see Kendall imploding, as always. And Tom just seems like he's the best suited to be CEO at this point. I can also see Greg getting it because, HBO loves their random offshoot character who is a part of the family but slightly detached and somehow ends up winning the throne in the end. Shout out to Bren. But yeah. We will see. Maybe Connor wins. I don't know, but it's the best show on television. We'll have it for one more week. Shout out to Marcia and Caroline. That was really funny with the Carrie thing and all of Logan's mistress in the front row. Lady Caroline was very, very funny. It's also to see how another way the kids got so messed up. But yeah, Succession. One more episode for one of the greatest shows of all time. Movies. Fast X was certainly one of the Fast and Furious movies that I've seen. Certainly one of them. I don't know if it was necessarily a good Fast and Furious movie, but it was certainly one of the Fast and Furious movies I've seen. Yeah, like, we went to space, and, Hobbs and Shaw was basically a superhero movie, but I don't know if they've really defied realism as much as they did in this movie. It was ridiculous, okay? It was ridiculous. It was entertaining, but it was ridiculous, which is what we're here for at this point. And as much as I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I really felt about this movie, I will be at the next one. I will. I'm in too deep, okay? I'm a sucker. I get it. It is. It is what it is. But yeah, Dom's GTR is basically the Batmobile at this point. It's indestructible. It appears out of nowhere. And yeah, it's the Batmobile. He's driving the Batmobile. Dom is a super soldier, honestly, with what he can take and the damage. Jason Momoa, Dante is basically a zesty Brazilian Joker, or flamboyant Brazilian Joker. It's just, which he was pretty entertaining. It was a lot at times, but he was very entertaining. But yeah, this movie was it was insane. It was insane. Hobbs is coming back for the last one. I guess everybody's coming back. Giselle, by the way, spoiler alert, is coming back. I know I said that kind of late, but you should probably know at this point. And I'm going to say spoilers in these reviews. But yeah, it was all over the place. It was certainly one of the Fast and Furious movies that I've seen. Certainly one. It was entertaining. It was mid, but it was entertaining. White Man Can't Jump was also. It was okay. It was alright. White Man Can't Jump was alright. Harlow, Seneca, they did their thing. They were cool. Tiana Taylor and Laura Harrier was a great decision to have as the love interest. Shout out to Laura Harrier. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. Not that Tiana Taylor is also a very, very beautiful woman. But shout out to Laura Harrier. She was hitting different in this movie. But yeah, Jack was solid in his acting debut. He played the role pretty well. I felt like it was kind of made for him, so no real surprise there. But yeah, nothing crazy. It's not like an Oscar-winning movie, but it was like a movie you could have, like, if you had somebody over and you just need to throw something on that y'all could just, like, come into when you're not talking or doing other things. It was that type of movie, honestly. So yeah, it wasn't bad necessarily, but wasn't anything crazy. So yeah, White Man Can't Jump is alright. And yeah, nothing else happened really in music, to be completely honest, this week. So that's all for entertainment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the real stuff. All right, let's get to the meat and the potatoes. NHL. Let's get to the conference finals, which has been full of despair for me as a Carolina Hurricane fan, as we've gone to overtime. Actually, both games went to overtime. That I'm about to talk about. Actually, all 4 games so far in the conference finals have gone to overtime. But first, the Florida Panthers, after we played them to a 4 overtime game, which we lost, and then we went to overtime again, and then we lost again 2-1, because Sergei Bobrovsky is standing on his head. He's standing on his head. It does not... He has 100 saves. I'm going to pop up the number. 100. 100 saves in 2 games. He's let in 3 goals. He has 100 saves. He has what is that ratio? What is that ratio? I don't even know what that ratio is. Every 33 saves he lets in a goal? That's ridiculous. Bobrovsky is the reincarnation of Dominic Hasek in this series, and we can't score on him. We keep going to overtime. Matthew Tkachuk can't stop scoring OT winners. We're down 2-0. I'm in a panic state. We lost both games in Carolina. It's not looking good. It's not the end of the world. We have to win Game 3. If we go to overtime against the Florida Panthers one more time, I'm going to lose my sanity. I cannot take this. Bobrovsky, please just have an off game. For once. For once, it's not even like it's not even like Freddie is having like we let up 2 goals in OT. Let up what, 3 goals the game before? Like, it's not even. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And that's all I can really say. It's not looking good. Shout out to the Panthers, though, if I'm being completely partial. They've gritted it out. They've made it happen in overtime. They've made the big plays when it needs to happen. And like I said, Bob is standing on his head. Panthers up 2-0. We will see what happens tonight. Vegas takes out Dallas in OT. Connor Stevenson, even though you can argue whether he should have even been in the game at this point, got the game winner. Marchese, how many times have we talked about him in the playoffs for them? And Mark Stone, all with 1 goal, 1 assist, so 2 points each to each all of them. And yeah, they held it down for Vegas. They got it done. Stevenson, like I said, with the winner. Dallas now down 0-2. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to count Dallas out. Last time I did that, they came and won the series. So I'm not going to do that. I know Stars fans, you're probably like, Chris, please go ahead, count us out so, the reverse juju can work and we can win the series. I'm not going to do that. I'm not falling for it again. The Dallas Stars very much so can win Game 3 and Game 4 and win the series, Could happen. Vegas has all the momentum right now. But you know what? It could happen. I know y'all are in the same spot that we are in, in Raleigh. So best of luck. But it's not great. It's not great right now. Not a great feeling. Back-to-back OT losses. But Vegas up. They win 3-2. Stevenson, like I said. This has been a really gritty series. It's been a real kind of physical series between the Stars and the Knights. Could be an emerging rivalry. I wouldn't be kind of shocked seeing the way this is going. Because, it's the tension's definitely ramping up. We'll see what happens, though, next week and see who's headed to the Stanley Cup playoff or Stanley Cup final, should I say, because we're already in the Stanley Cup finals. But, anyways. We'll see what happens, and hopefully I retain my sanity. The National Basketball Association. Before we talk about WNBA, of course, we got to talk about the conference finals. And, of course, this is what you're here for. A lot of you skip ahead to this segment. And I understand it. I get it. It's the most entertaining segment. It's the main event for a reason. All right? There's a reason why I do this segment last. All right? Because it's the one everybody's coming for. It's the main event. It's only right. Let's talk. Okay? Let's talk. Let's talk about sweeps. Okay? Let's talk about the broomstick. Because... there's a lot of broomsticks that are going to be in the air, okay? And the first broomstick I'm holding up, this broomstick today, this first very old, very beat broomstick, goes out to the first sweep that's going to happen this week, and that's coming tonight. Probably as you are watching this, or after you have watched this, or before you have watched this episode. The Denver Nuggets will have finished off the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I'm going to talk about Game 3, which Denver won 119-108. Jamal Murray, once again, Bubble Jamal Murray is back. I said it last week. He's back. He's him, okay? He's back to being him, and the Lakers can do absolutely nothing about him. He's looking like Maple Jordan. Word to Andrew Wiggins, but this is the real Maple Jordan. He had 37, 7, and 6. Just destroyed. They can't guard him. All right, they couldn't guard him the same. If the life was on the line, they'd be dead. Nikola Jokic didn't even go off in this game. By the way, he's averaging, or he might have lost the last game actually, but he was averaging a triple-double for the playoffs. That doesn't make any sense. Once again, we are very, very close now. We are 5 games. 5 games away from having a very uncomfortable conversation about where Nikola Jokic ranks all time. And I am prepared to have that conversation. I would recommend that you also get prepared to have that conversation about where Nikola Jokic ranks all time. He only had 24 in this game. But you know what's been the killer for the Lakers? Besides Jamal Murray, once again playing like the second coming of Michael Jordan. We'll talk about Michael Jordan's illegitimate son in the next game, in the next series. But not Jokic, not Murray. It's been the depth. Which I was going to come up here at the beginning of the series and be like, you know what? Denver is not that deep. They don't really have the depth, right? That they don't go that deep. They don't play a lot of players. They really go about 8 deep, if that. Sometimes they go 7 deep in terms of their roster, in their lineup. 7 players, 7 to 8 players. That's it. They don't play everybody. But it's the people they've put around Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic that are making the difference in this series. Michael Porter Jr. We all know MPJ. We've talked about him on this podcast. Of course, if you've been around, you know he was once the number one prospect in America in high school. He was the second. He was light-skinned KD. Okay, he was light-skinned KD. He was a monster. His back broke at Missouri. Pause. And he just was never the same player. But he's back. He's back on his BS. Now he's third fiddle, of course, to Murray and Jokic, so he's not putting up superstar numbers. But he's shooting the lights out. And he's doing everything. He had 14, 10, and 6 in Game 3. 6 assists for MPJ, who's supposed to be an offensive vacuum from his biggest critics. And he did a little bit of everything. Did what was necessary. Got a bucket when needed to. Rebounded and playmaked. Complete effort from him. Bruce Brown's averaging 14 a game in this series off the bench, looking like 6th man of the year. He had 15. He's been the guy. I don't know what it is about Lana Rhodes, but it's working for him, so congratulations. By the way, I saw a lot of people on Twitter like, oh, even though, because Bruce and Lana apparently are together, Bruce Brown is no, that is clearly Blake's son. I don't know if y'all don't know how the genetics work, or you just have not seen the kid. That is very clearly Blake Griffin's son. I get that I don't know how it happened with Lana and Bruce, but anyways, that is still Blake Griffin's son, don't worry. But yeah, Bruce is just the father that stepped up. He's also the 6th man that stepped up in this series. Now, you're probably prepared if the Lakers are down 3-0 and in this situation, you're prepared for me to, talk about and diss AD. He actually had 28 and 18. He had, 28 and 18 in Game 3. Had a decent Game 2 as well. So I can't even really be mad at him because he showed up for the first time in a while for 2 straight games. But that Game 1 is leaving a real black mark because that's the game they should have had. If he shows up, they could have had that one. And there's been moments in the series, even though the numbers look good, where AD needed to show up a little bit more and take out Jokic, really, and just be AD, where he hasn't been AD. LeBron, again, 23, 7, and 12 is routine for him. Sure, he could be better, but I'm giving leniency to King James on this one because he has 1 foot. And he's 38 years old. He's finally playing like a 38-year-old. Earlier in the season, it was kind of ridiculous. Averaging 30 as a 38 that does not really make any type of sense. That was some alien stuff. But he's finally looking human. Now, he's injured, and that's probably why he's looking human. But nonetheless, for the sake of the series, he's looking human. Regardless, it's not looking good. It ain't looking good for the Lakers. So, in honor of their impending sweep, and the Nuggets becoming the first team to sweep a LeBron James team outside of the finals. Congratulations. Here's your honorary broomstick. The Nuggets are going to the finals. Put money on it. Now let's talk about the other sweep, the other broomstick. And this broomstick goes to the other, other illustrious franchise in the history of the National Basketball Association, and that is the Boston Celtics. This one goes out to JT and JB because they've been non-existent. But let's talk about Jimmy Buckets and co. But in Game 3, actually, which Miami completely dominated, 128-102, it wasn't about Jimmy Butler. I know normally we come up here, we throw up the graphic, we say Jimmy Butler, most dangerous man on the planet. He wasn't the most dangerous man on the planet yesterday. I mean, he was still the leader. Don't get it messed up. He's still the catalyst. He's the culture leader. But it wasn't him. It wasn't even Bam. It wasn't Bam yesterday. You want to know how I knew the Celtics were in jeopardy of this? How I knew that they were in trouble? When Gabe Vincent goes for 29 6 threes, and Duncan Robinson, who, if you remember in this illustrious bubble in which the Heat and Nuggets, by the way, starred in 2 years ago, very famously starred in, and we questioned, would it transfer? Oh, it's transferring. But Duncan Robinson couldn't even be on the court during playoff basketball. Spo had to take him out because he was a liability. He was not a liability in Game 3 for the Heat. No Harrow, no Vic. Duncan Robinson's been a playable player. He had 22 and 5 threes. When Duncan Robinson, all due respect, Gabe Vincent, all due respect, are the ones that are killing you, broomsticks are in the air. They are in the air for you, Boston, because you're done. You're done. JT went 6 for 18. Jaylen Brown went 6 for 17. We talked about the Lakers bad. I mean, they've been horrific from three, especially LeBron. All due respect. Love them. Favorite player of all time. He's been god-awful from three. Again, don't know if it's because of the injury or his shot's just broken. He can't shoot a lick. You know who else can't shoot a lick, apparently? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who went 1 for 14 from three. 1 for 14. You're supposed to be superstars. We talked about Jason Tatum 2 weeks ago, dropping 51. He's here. Now he's gone. When, please. So instead of the NBA getting their probably much anticipated fight for 18 featuring LeBron, can he get his title, and can Jason Tatum truly become a superstar in the league? We are going to get Heat versus Nuggets because they are putting broomsticks in the air on the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. The series is done. Okay, it's done. Sweeps, sticks in the air. The first one happens tonight, so if you want to watch the Lakers' demise, you can go watch that. The next one will happen tomorrow. So if you are a Boston Celtics hater, congratulations. But yeah, it's done. It's done. Now, some more positive news, even though I guess if you're a Nuggets or a Heat fan, it's been a very positive week for you. If you're a San Antonio Spurs fan, it's been bliss, okay? Because the tank worked out. Because it works out every time y'all tank, apparently. You get a generational big man. 1987, it was David Robinson. 1997, it was, that Tim Duncan guy. And, what do you know, generational prospect, one of the greatest prospects ever, Victor Wembanyama. I don't know why I said Vic's name like that. But anyways, Wemby. 2023, and of course, the Spurs win the lottery. I mean, they're bad every 20 years, and it works out for them every single time. Every single time, without fail. I mean, the agenda was there, okay? Pop getting a generational big man for his last go-around. Of course, the Spurs' affinity for international players. It was always going to happen. I don't know why we didn't think it was going to happen. Otherwise, it was fate, okay? Wemby is a Spur. I think that's a really good fit. Jeremy Sokan is talking a whole lot. I don't know if it's because he got Wemby now and he's feeling himself, but he's talking a lot about the Lakers as well. I don't know why. I mean, you haven't done anything. I mean, you've made an all-rookie team. I think you have a national championship, but you haven't done anything in the NBA. Let's be honest. So I really don't know why he's mouthing off. Actually, I know why he's mouthing off. It's for attention, which I just gave him. So congratulations. I guess mission accomplished for the Canadian. But yeah, we'll see if Wemby can carry this carcass of a San Antonio team for his rookie year and see how bad they are and see if they can get some help. But yeah, still I think a good position for him. Charlotte gets the second pick. Boy, oh boy, the city would have burned down if we got Wemby. Instead, we get Scooter, Brandon Miller, which isn't bad. Portland gets 3. Dame gets some help finally. Houston gets 4. And Detroit won 17 games to get a Thompson brother. Or Cam Whitmore. That's rough. That is rough. But that's just how the world bounces sometimes. Good luck to Detroit. Y'all got Kane, all right? Y'all got Kane a couple years ago. Y'all be fine. But yeah, Detroit down horrendous. San Antonio up fantastic. All right, fantastic. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. Shout out to Deer Park, unofficial water sponsor of the Roundup and of the 815 Exchange. Now, motorsport, I know I'm supposed to be talking about Mola Green P. Well, that got, it flooded. It flooded in Italy this past week, so my thoughts and prayers go out to the families affected. Hope everybody's okay. I haven't really seen any updates in the last 2 days, but yeah. So the Imola Grand Prix got canceled. However, we did have the All-Star race in NASCAR at North Wilkesboro. Big deal. Dale Jr. brought it back. We, bring it back to our roots here at NC, so that's always cool. But, some people were kind of bringing up, like, the track wasn't the best. Anyways, it was an overwhelming success. For the most part, it was a success. Massive crowd, a lot of hype, a lot of eyeballs. So overall, did well. Kyle Larson, please, I know you will drive anything with wheels, and you are very good at driving anything with wheels, but please stop bullying the truck series. Okay, please. Just let the kids and the not as cup ready people, let them get their wins. Let them make their money. You don't need to drive in the trucks. I know, once again, you were one of the best drivers on the planet. You will drive anything with wheels. But please, for the sake of them, stop bullying them, okay? Because it's bullying at this point, because you're just on a different level. He also won the All-Star race for the Cup Series. So just a great weekend. A great weekend to be Kyle Larson. Bubba got second, so shout out to the boy. But yeah, Larson, please, mercy, okay? This is his third All-Star race. He's just hoarding the $1 million, okay? But yeah, Larson, again, is still one of the best racers on the planet. Shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. But yeah, North Wilkesboro, pretty much overwhelming success. I wonder if they added to the full-time schedule. We'll see. Preakness Stakes, we will not have a Triple Crown winner. That's not really a surprise. Mage did finish third, and it was a really, really good Preakness, honestly. National Treasure won just barely. Like I said, a really, really good race. It was back and forth. I forget who was in second. But yeah, it was basically almost head-to-head battle right there, and basically came down to the wire. So yeah, shout out to National Treasure. Baffert and Vasquez get their Preakness. I think this is Baffert's 8th. Vasquez finally gets his first Preakness, I believe. Or at least that's the way they worded it, which feels kind of weird because I feel like he's won a Triple Crown. But nonetheless, Vasquez, great race. Mage finished third. No Triple Crown winner. No real surprise. PGA Championship, which of course was won by a live golfer. Brooks Koepka continues to be one of the best golfers on God's green earth. No surprise there. He finished second in the Masters, and he kept that momentum up. He wins the PGA, partially because he was just the guy this weekend, but also Victor Horvath having the worst 15th hole. I mean, just the worst thing that could happen in that bunker is what happened. Literally, that is so crazy. Trying to get it out of the bunker, and it goes under the grass on the edge. That's just crazy. So he has to take a drop. He double bogeys. It's done. Like I said, though, Brooks is one of the best in the world. Probably, I think, number 2 on the rankings, or at least he should be behind Rahm. But yeah, Brooks, still Brooks. That's his 5th major. His 3rd PGA. He's got 2, I think, U.S. Opens. He's a Masters and the Open Championship away from the Career Slam. I think he could pull it off. He's only, 33? So yeah, Brooks, still that guy. Even though he's live, he won the PGA. And of course, the WNBA is back. The W is back. Still a big believer in expansion. I'll say that till the end of days. But it was good to see some of the rookies. Aaliyah had a pretty solid debut. Unfortunately, the Indiana Fever have lost 20 straight games dating back to last year. Yes, that is correct. They lost 18 straight to end of the year last year, which is comical, especially in a league with not that many teams, but it did in fact happen. But while the Liberty kind of crapped the bed, the first game, Breanna Stewart said absolutely not. And the best player in the world had 45 and 12 yesterday for the Liberty. The Las Vegas Aces look like the defending champions and look like the super team they're supposed to be with Candace, Asia Wilson, and Kelsey Plum, and so on and so forth, Chelsea Gray. So yeah, the WNBA is back. We'll talk about it as we go. But yeah, for now, hope you guys enjoyed. And without further ado, Ocho, signing off.